Hi viewers, there is a big debate going on about this one guy from Europe. I mean, he's got a very high position and many people wonder if he's actually right for the job. No, not this guy. I'm talking about Jean-Claude Juncker. Probably you haven't heard about him. Jean-Claude Juncker is not very well known in Europe. A recent survey declared that only 1 out of 10 Europeans actually know who he is. Jean-Claude Juncker is the new Commission President of the European Union. And I know what you are thinking. Come on, can we please talk about something else? The European Union is so boring. It's so boring. Instead of listening to it, I would rather watch a whole game of cricket in super slow motion. And that was a scene where people actually cheered. I know, for many people Europe is not the most interesting thing. The voter turnout speaks for itself. Of course, if you have the choice between the headlines "Europe learns democracy," which basically means this is important, you better read that, you lazy fuck, or 10 things that will totally change your life, number 6 make me almost cry, which basically means just click me and you can shut off your head. Who can blame you clicking on the letter? Well, yes, who can? Except maybe the fucking world you live in. I mean, honestly, it is alright to get distraction watching football or clicking through picture galleries of 20 hot Brazilian fans who don't like bras and then moving further to the other sides of the internet. It is totally alright. But every 5 years there's an election where you can decide not only how you but all the people around you will be governed. You decide if the poor will stay poor, or if homosexuality is treated as an abnormality, or if you can smoke in the bar, or if you can smoke this other stuff, which is totally awesome but totally forbidden. You're not a voter, you are the sovereign. The guys you vote for, they are only your representatives. I know you all heard this over and over again, but sometimes I think people forget that they are responsible for every shit that goes on in a democracy. I know. The European Union is not a democracy. It is just a bureaucratic monster that wants to regulate the bending angle of my precious cucumbers. Yeah, fingers off my cucumbers. The poor cucumbers. What did they do to deserve such regulatory zeal? Yes, I'm talking to you, Denmark. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. In the 1900s, the Danish government issued a law that restricted the angle of the cucumber, as did many other countries with other vegetables and similar regulations. Honestly, who gives a fuck about the bending angle of cucumbers? Well, actually, Germany does, and Austria, and almost every other member state. The law of the cucumber bending was put forward by the industry to make one standard, and it was supported by various governments. It makes it easier to build boxes for the vegetables, to send it away. It is a quality standard. And actually, many countries in the European Union had cucumber regulations on their own. The EU just made out of a dozen regulations only one. So it actually reduced the bureaucracy in Europe. But because all of our newspapers reported so unbiased and differentiated about it, many people made up their minds clearly and were fed up with the cucumber rolls because they were all defenders of the liberty of the cucumber. Well, not all of them. When the cucumber regulation was abolished in 2008, only 8 countries voted for the abolishment of the regulation. First, after some hard diplomatic work, it finally got a majority. But still, 16 out of the 27 EU countries voted against the abolishment. Among them were Greece, France, Czech Republic, Spain, Italy and Poland. You freedom-denying cucumber enslavers, you vegetable Nazis! Every cucumber is free to bend in its own right. We should invade your countries! But even when the regulation was abolished, the market still used it and still uses it. It is just easier to pack and to sell and to just have the right norms. But even if this sounds sometimes ridiculous, there is something bad to it though. It is estimated that 10 to 30% of all food production gets thrown away because it doesn't have the right form. The consumers just don't buy it. A German supermarket actually sold curvy vegetables for a few weeks, but almost no one purchased them. The vegetables were free to rot. But now, what has all this to do with Juncker? Well, actually not much. But this stupid cucumber regulation is one of the only few things people know about when they think about the European Union. Well, and maybe light bulbs, or vacuum cleaners, or oil bottles. But when you think about it, Europe is gonna grow more important than ever, and I'm not talking about the European Union. Even if the European Union is suddenly destroyed by a mob of French flag fuckers and Greek nostalgia Nazis, do you honestly think every country will just go back to their businesses and don't care what goes on around them? You will still face the same problems: tax evasion, energy supply, the regulation of the financial sector. Who may honestly think one country alone could tackle these problems on their own? I mean, efficiently. As long as there is no cooperation, rich businesses will choose the Netherlands as their headquarters and save lots and lots of money, while people in Spain and Greece suffer under unemployment. As long as there is no cooperation, big energy industries can do whatever the fuck they want in most areas of Europe, since there is no European oversight. So they can manipulate the energy prices while poor people anywhere in Europe cannot pay their bills. As long as there is no cooperation, banks can move their capital where it is safe from taxes or regulation, while you out there have to pay when a bank goes bankrupt again. The European Union is not the perfect institution, but neither is the German Bundestag, nor the British Parliament, nor the Polish Sejm. But it is all we got to tackle these problems. It is true that there is a lot of shit going on, as in every capital of the world there is corruption, lobbyism, and intransparent lawmaking. But I'm telling you, bent cucumbers are the least of these problems. So first and for all, it is important to understand how the European Union works and why it has in fact learned democracy. In the next videos, I will try to explain how the EU works, and I will try to make it more interesting than this. Seriously, Brits, how can you stay awake watching this without drinking coffee?